Hello friends. Okay, so now in this lecture we'll revise circles. So we'll see very basic definitions or and the terminology related to circles. Circle we can say is a set of points such that distance of those points from a fixed point is always fixed. Okay, this is a fixed point. Now I am saying circle is a collection of all these points whose distance from a fixed point is always fixed. Okay, this is called the circle. Now this fixed point is called the center of the circle, and this fixed distance is called the radius of the circle. Okay, so uh, very first thing, circle. Okay, I can say collection of points or set of points whose distance whose distance from whose distance is fixed from a fixed point from a fixed point. Okay, fixed point is called fixed point is called center of the circle, center of the circle, and fixed radius and fixed radius fixed distance, and the fixed distance is called radius of the circle, radius of the circle. Okay, if O is the center of the circle and R is radius of the circle, okay, if O is the center of the circle and R is its radius, then circle is denoted as maybe denoted as O comma R. We'll read this circle O comma R. That means its center is O and radius is R. Okay. Also, it can be written this C O comma R. Again, it means circle having center O and radius R. So this is the very basic definition about the circle. Okay, here this is O and this is R. Okay, now next we'll see radius. What radius is? Radius is actually, I can say, distance between the center and the circumference of the circle. Okay, distance between center and the circumference of the circle is called the radius. Okay, now after this we'll see some more terminology. We'll see what is chord, what is secant. Okay, then we'll find the relation between the, then we'll see the diameter. Okay, so next is chord. So any line segment which joins any 2 points of the circle. Line segment joining line segment joining any 2 points of circumference is called its chord. It's called the chord of the circle. Chord of the circle. Now we'll see a chord which passes through the center of the circle. A chord which passes through the center of the circle is called the diameter, or the longest chord is called the diameter. Okay, so if I draw a circle in this way, okay, This is a circle. So this, if O is the center, then this is the chord AB or chord BC, whatever is the name, chord AB. This joins any 2 points on the circumference, so this is the chord. Now, if I draw a chord which passes through the center of the circle, then this chord is called the diameter. So next is diameter. Diameter, the chord which passes through the center, chord that passes through the center of the circle, through the center of the circle. Chord that passes through the center of the circle is called diameter. Okay, a circle can have infinite diameter. Okay, over here we can you should understand that diameter d is equal to twice of r. Also, diameter is the longest chord. Is the longest chord. Also, you can say, okay, diameter is the longest chord. Also, we can say all diameters are chord, but all chords are not diameter. Okay, all diameters meters are chord, but all chords need not be diameter. Okay, only chords which passes through the center will be considered as the diameter. Okay, so that is very basic about the circle, that is diameter. Now there is one more uh, term that is called secant. Secant, a line which intersects the circle at 2 points is called the secant. Okay, for example, if I draw this, then this line. Okay, this this line is called the secant. Okay, which secant, a line, segment or line that intersects the circle at 2 intersects the circle at 2 points, at 2 points, line segment that's intersects at 2 points is called secant, is called secant. Okay, okay, now we'll see the some of the theorems of the circle. Okay, so uh, very first thing, see, before again I move ahead, let me tell you one thing more. Arc of the circle. Okay, any part of the circle is called the arc of the circle. Continuous piece of the circle, this is called the arc. For example, okay, AB. So this AB is called the arc of the circle. Now there are two more terms: minor arc, major arc. Okay, so this is the minor arc. You can see it is smaller, and this remaining part is called the major arc. Okay. Now, very first theorem we'll see, uh, if two arcs of a circle are congruent, corresponding chords are equal. If two arcs of a circle are equal, if two arcs of a circle are equal, then then corresponding corresponding, if two arcs of a circle are equal, then corresponding chords are also equal. Corresponding chords are also equal. Corresponding chords are also equal. For example, if I say this is the chord AB, which is equal to this chord QZ or CD, whatever you say, name doesn't matter. Okay. If these two arcs are equal, then these are the corresponding chords. they will be also equal. Okay, if two arcs are equal, then corresponding chords are also equal. This is, we can say, an axiom actually. Now its converse is also correct. That means if two chords are equal, if two chords of a circle are equal, then then corresponding corresponding arcs are also equal, are also equal. Okay, if two chords are equal, corresponding arcs are equal. If two arcs are equal, corresponding chords will be equal. These are the two basic, these are two actually axioms. Now next we will see the theorems. Okay, so here is the very first theorem. This is very, very, very important. Okay, the theorem is, okay, so next theorem is the perpendicular from center of a circle. Okay, the perpendicular perpendicular from the center, the perpendicular from the center the perpendicular from the center of a circle to the chord, from the center of the circle to a chord bisects the chord. The perpendicular from the center of the circle to a chord bisects the chord. That means if this is the circle with center O, now let this is the chord AB. Now if I draw a perpendicular from the center to the chord, let the perpendicular is OQ, then AQ will be AO will be equal to OB. AO and OB will be equal. This sorry, AQ and QB will be equal. If a perpendicular is drawn from the center of the circle to the chord, it will bisect the chord. That means over here I will get AQ is equal to QB. Okay, AQ is equal to QB. Now this concept is used in so many questions. For example, suppose it is given the length of AB is equal to 12. Okay, and AQ is equal to, for a while AQ is equal to, okay, let it be 24, and AQ is equal to 5, then they will ask to find radius. So radius means AO, because radius we know is the distance between center and the point on the circumference. So we have to, we'll apply, see, we need to find AO, and here you can see this is a right angle triangle. So to get the length of AO, that means to get the length of hypotenuse, we need the length of perpendicular and base. Now OQ is directly given to you, that is 5. OQ is 5. Now we need AQ to get the length of radius. Now it is also given that a perpendicular is drawn from the center to the chord. So according to this theorem, I can say it will bisect the chord. As it bisects the chord, I can say AQ equal to QB, or AQ is equal to half of AB. So AB equal to 24. So AQ will be 12. So this will be 12. This will be 5. So if you apply the Pythagoras theorem, AO will be 13. So among these three, either, see here radius, it was asked to find the radius, chord, and the distance between the center and the chord was given. It is quite possible that radius is given, distance is given, they find to length the chord. So what we will do in that case? That means suppose in the same question it is given the radius is 13, the perpendicular distance from the center to the chord is 5. Find the length of chord. So first we'll find AQ, that will be 12, and then I will make it 12. Again using the same concept. What is the concept? As it is perpendicular to the chord, it will bisect the chord. That means AB will be twice of AQ. So this is the theorem. Now its converse is also true. Okay, what its converse is, if a line segment is drawn from the center to the chord such that it bisects the chords, then it will be perpendicular to the chord. Line joining the center, line joining the center of the circle, to the midpoint of chord, is perpendicular to the chord, is perpendicular to the chord. That means if it is given AQ is a line such that AQ equal to QB, that means Q is the midpoint of AB, then definitely OQ is perpendicular to AB. Okay, so these were the first two theorems. Now next, there is one and only one circle. Okay, there is one and only one circle. There is one and only one circle that passes through that passes through three non-collinear points. That three non-collinear points. Okay, there is one and only one circle that passes through three non-collinear points. That is a theorem. This directly can be asked as an objective. There is one and only one circle that passes through three non-collinear points. Okay, now next theorem is, there are around 18 to 20 theorems in this chapter, and the maximum questions are based on the theorem only. Okay, so let us see the next question or next theorem actually. Okay, next theorem is, equal chords of a circle are equidistant from the center. Equal chords of a circle, equal chords of a circle are equidistant from the center, from the center of the circle, Okay, that means if there are two chords which are equal in length, then they will be at equal distance from the center. For example, we have chords AB and CD, okay, and they are equal in length, then they must be at the equal distance from the center. Equal distance, that means suppose AB equal to CD, so distance of these chords from the center is actually, if I say this is OZ and OQ. So actually they want to say if AB equal to CD, then OZ will be equal to OQ. If AB and CD are equal, these two will be equal. Now when I say distance, it means I am talking about the only perpendicular distance. Okay, so suppose we have to prove this, so how we'll show this? See, first of all, here what I did, I draw a perpendicular from the center to the chord. Here also I did the same thing. That means OZ bisects the chord, that means AZ will be equal to ZB, or I can say AZ will be half of AB, isn't it? Similarly, over here I can say CQ will be half of CD. Now, what I have to show that they are at equal distance. That means we have to show OZ equal to OQ. Okay, that means if it is possible to prove these two triangles congruent, we can say OZ equal to OQ. So, as the perpendicular was drawn, so one um, thing that I can directly use that this angle is 90 degree. Also AO equal to CO because they are the radii of the same circle, isn't it? AO is the radius of circle, OC is also radius of the same circle. So these two will be equal. Now it is given AB equal to CD, so their halves also equal. Now half of AB is AZ, half of CD is CQ. So AZ equal to CQ, this angle is equal. So by RHS we can say triangles will be congruent, and hence I'll be able to say that is OZ equal to OQ. Okay, so this is the way to prove this. Now next, it's converse. That means if it is given the chords are at equal distance, they must be equal in length. So equal chords which are at equidistant from the center are equal in length. Okay, chords equidistant from the center. Next is chords equidistance distant chords equidistant from the center of the circle, are equal in length, are equal in okay, chords which are equidistant from the center are equal in length. Okay, so it's covered. That means if we have OZ equal to OQ, then AB equal to CD. Okay, now next is equal chords of a circle subtend equal angles at the center. This is very important. Okay, so many MCQs can be created with this theorem. Theorem is equal chords of a circle, equal chords of a circle subtends equal angles at the center. Equal chords of a circle subtends equal angles at the center. So suppose this is the circle. Okay, now this is the center of the circle. Let these two chords are equal in length. Okay, AB and CD are equal in length. Okay, or let me draw it in a proper way. Okay, this is the center of the circle. Let these are the chords AB and this is the chord CD. Now they subtend equal angle at the center. If AB equal to CD, we'll say these two angles have same measurement. Whatever is it will be equal. It's not necessary that these two are straight lines. Okay, this is just by default. Suppose even though I have this as CD, then again I will say these two angles will be equal. Okay. If AB equal to CD, if two chords are equal, then they subtend equal angle at the center. Okay, now next one is converse of this. Seventh one. Okay, here equal chords of a circle subtend equal angle at the center. Now the chords subtending equal angle at the center are equal. Okay, chords subtending equal angles at the center, subtending equal angle at the center are equal in length. Okay, now it is given if these two angles by AB and CD at the center are equal, then definitely we'll say AB is equal to CD. Chords which are equal in length, sorry, chords which subtend the equal angle are equal in length, and if the chords are equal in length, angle subtended by them at the center will be equal. Okay, now next. So this is very important theorem, the seventh one. Although all the theorems are important, but so many questions can be created on this particular theorem, 6 and 7. Okay, now next is of any two chords of a circle. Okay, next is of any two chords of a circle, of any two chords of a circle, of any two chords of a circle, one which is larger is nearer to the circle. One which is larger, one which is larger is nearer to the circle. One which is larger is nearer to the circle. Okay, suppose there are two chords. Okay, now if their distance from the center is different, that means one chord is near to the circle, another chord is little bit away from the center. So one which is nearer to the circle will be larger. Okay, you can see in this way. Suppose, okay, this is the circle. Let this is the center. Now if I take uh, this chord and if I take this chord, okay, so AB and CD. Now from center if I draw perpendicular OQ, and from here if I draw a perpendicular OZ, so definitely here OQ is less than OZ. Okay, the distance of this chord AB is less than the distance of this chord CD. It means I can say AB is nearer to the center. As AB is nearer to the center, I will say AB is greater than CD. Okay, even with the help of diagram we can see. Okay, here no need to prove because we are just revising this, otherwise it is not difficult to prove. Okay, so OQ is less than OZ, then AB is greater than CD. Now, ninth one is converse of this. It means of any two chords of a circle, one which is nearer to the circle is longer. Okay, of any two chords of a circle, one which is nearer to the circle, one which is nearer to the circle is longer, is longer. Okay, one which is nearer to the circle is longer. So, okay, so okay, again we'll see. Eighth one says of any two chords, one which is larger. So here you can say if you can see AB is greater than CD, as AB is longer than CD, that means AB is nearer to. So OQ is less than OZ. Okay, that we can say is interpretation of theorem number 8. Now theorem number 9 says if we have OQ is less than OZ, that means if I say that AB is nearer to the circle, then definitely AB will be greater than CD. Okay, this is the interpretation of theorem number 9. Okay, so these are the two theorems. Now next is the angle subtended by an arc. This is also very important theorem. Theorem number 10th. Okay, theorem number 10 says the angle subtended by an arc, the angle subtended by an arc, the angle subtended by an arc, or if I say by chord, it's the same thing, by an arc at the center, at the center at the center is double double the angle subtended. Okay, the angle subtended by an arc at the center is double the angle subtended by the same arc at the remaining part of the circle. On the angle subtended by an arc at the center is double the angle subtended by it at any point of the remaining part of the circle. Angle subtended by an arc at the center is double the angle subtended by it at any point of the remaining circle, remaining part of the circle. Okay, that means suppose we have a circle in this way. Now this chord AB, for a while this chord AB subtends an angle at the center. Suppose the angle is x, then the same arc will subtend over here, that will be double. That means angle subtended by that arc at the center is double the angle subtended by it. So this is x, so this will be 2x. Okay, angle subtended by an arc at the center is twice the angle subtended by the same arc at the remaining part. Okay, why remaining part? Not on the arc AB again. Okay, arc AB also can subtend an angle at AB, so on the remaining part other than that arc. Okay, so this is very important theorem. So many MCQs can be created with this particular theorem. Okay, we'll see at least one or two questions related to this. Now next is angle in the same segment of a circle are equal. Angles in the same segment of a circle are equal. Angles in the same segment of a circle are equal. Okay, same segment means suppose this is called AB. This subtends angle Q at the major arc. When I say same segment, that means on the major segment, major part, and is also subtends an angle Z on the remaining part. So this angle AQB will be equal to this angle AZB. Okay, because these two angles are subtended by the chord AB at the same segment. Same segment, that means either on the major or in the minor. Okay, so these two theorems are very important. Okay, next is the angle in the semicircle is the angle in the semicircle. The angle in the semicircle is right angle. In the semicircle is right angle. The angles in the semicircle, the angle in the semicircle is right angle. That means if I draw a circle and let this is the center, so this angle AQB will be 90 degrees because it is subtended by the diameter, semicircle. Also, if I say this angle AZ, it will be 90 degrees. That means all the angles subtended by this diameter at the center, at the semicircle, will be 90 degree. Okay, now next is, okay, these three theorems. Okay, so before I proceed, let us see one question related to these theorems. Okay, so do one thing, first we'll finish the theorems, then we'll see the question, because it is quite possible that some theorems connect the questions as well. So next theorem is, if a line segment, okay, theorem number 13, if a line segment, if a line segment joining 2 points, joining 2 points, if a line segment joining 2 points subtends equal angles, at two other points, lying on the same side, lying on the same side of the line, then then 4 points are concyclic. Okay, so before I explain this, let me explain what is the meaning of concyclic. See, 4 points which lie on a circle are called concyclic. Okay, 4 points which are on the same circle are called concyclic. So if I say these points are ABCD, so I will say ABCD are concyclic. Or one thing more, I can say this ABCD is a cyclic quadrilateral. Okay, so concyclic or cyclic quadrilateral. 4 points are concyclic, then the quadrilateral formed by joining those points in order will be a cyclic quadrilateral. Okay, so now we'll explain this. It says if a line segment joining 2 points, let these two are the points A and B. So a line segment joining 2 points subtends equal angles at two other points. Now that one point might be over here, might be over here, isn't it? These 2 points subtends equal angle at two other points. Now where those 2 points are lying on the same side of the line, they are on the same side of the line. That means if Q is over here, Z is over here. Okay. Line segment joining 2 points. Subtends equal angles. At two other points. Okay. As well as those 2 points on which this AB subtends angle must be on the same side of the line. That means they should be either above or below. Or if I say line AB is this way, then the point should be on the right side or on the left side. They should not be on the opposite side of the line joining those 2 points. Now these two angles are equal. So let's say this angle is D and this angle that I am going to join is C. Then 4 points are concyclic. Then in that case definitely these 4 points are concyclic. That means there will be a circle which will pass through these 4 points. Okay, so that is the theorem number 13. Now next theorem is, now we'll see the properties of cyclic quadrilateral. Okay, so cyclic quadrilateral, I explained you that a quadrilateral whose all 4 points lie on the circle is called the cyclic quadrilateral. Now the very first property of the cyclic quadrilateral, that is sum of any pair of opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral is 180. Suppose we have a cyclic quadrilateral ABCD. Okay, let this is a cyclic quadrilateral, but obviously it's a cyclic because all 4 points are on the circle. Then sum of its either pair of opposite angle is 180 degree. That means angle A plus angle C is equal to 180 and angle B plus angle D is equal to 180. Okay, it is also clear if A plus C is 180, by default B plus D will be 180 because sum of all four is 360. So here if the sum of any one pair of opposite angles of a quadrilateral is 180, definitely it's a cyclic quadrilateral. Now its converse is also true. Here what they are saying, if the quadrilateral is cyclic, sum of its pair of opposite angle is 180. Now its converse is that if the sum of two angles of any quadrilateral, two opposite angles of any quadrilateral is 180, then the quadrilateral will be cyclic. For example, definitely we can say rectangle is cyclic. Definitely we can say a square is cyclic because in a square sum of opposite angle is 180, in rectangle sum of opposite angle is 180. Okay, so these two theorems were related to cyclic quadrilateral. Okay, Sum of opposite pair of either pair of opposite angle is 180 degree. Sum of either pair of opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral is 180 degree, or in other words we can say some opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral are supplementary. Okay, opposite angles of cyclic quadrilateral are supplementary. So that was theorem number 14 or whatever sequence was. Now next theorem is converse of this. That means if the sum of the opposite angles of any one pair of a quadrilateral is 180 degree, then quadrilateral is cyclic. If the sum of okay, if the sum of any pair, if the sum of any pair of a quadrilateral, if the sum of any pair of a quadrilateral is 180 degree, then quadrilateral is cyclic. Then quadrilateral is cyclic. Okay. Now okay. Now one more property of cyclic quadrilateral. See, if I produce this angle, so I will say this is the exterior angle of the cyclic quadrilateral. Now this angle is equal to opposite interior. See, it's very simple. I can say x plus a is equal to 180, and this is b. So b plus a is equal to 180. That means x is equal to b. Simple. So exterior angle of a cyclic quadrilateral. Okay. Exterior. Next theorem is exterior angle of a cyclic quadrilateral is equal to its opposite interior angle. Opposite interior angle. Okay. Exterior angle of a cyclic quadrilateral is equal to its opposite interior angle. So now two more theorems left which are again related to the cyclic quadrilateral only. So let us see those two theorems as well. So theorems are: a cyclic trapezium is isosceles. A cyclic trapezium is isosceles, and its diagonals are equal. Now that we know. We know in an isosceles trapezium diagonals are already equal or also equal. So if a trapezium is cyclic, it is isosceles and its diagonals are equal. That means instead of drawing this, if I draw a trapezium over here in such a way, then definitely its diagonals will be equal. Okay, something like this. Okay, this is an cyclic trapezium because AD parallel BC. Okay, so it's a trapezium and its all 4 points are on the circle, so it's a cyclic trapezium. Now definitely its diagonals will be equal. That means AC will be equal to BD. Okay, so also AB equal to CD. Now its converse is also correct. That means in a trapezium, if diagonals are equal, or in a trapezium, if the diagonals are equal, it will be cyclic. An isosceles trapezium is an isosceles trapezium is always cyclic. Okay, that means if I say AB equal to DC, then definitely that trapezium will be cyclic. That means all its 4 points will lie on the circle, or I can say some of its opposite angles will be 180 degree. Okay, so here all theorems get over. Okay, so now we'll see one or two questions related to these theorems. So let us see some questions related to which type of questions might be asked in your MCQ part. For that we'll see. So suppose it is given there is a circle. Okay, and here it is given, diagram will be given to you, and some of the angles in the diagram will also be given to you. Only thing that you have to apply the theorems, and you have to identify one of the unknown angles. Okay, so here first you have to find angle DCP, and next you have to find angle BAD. BAD. These two angles you have to find. Angle BAD and angle DCP. The given measurement is this 140 degree. O is the center of the circle. Okay, this information definitely will be given to you. If it is not given, O is the center of the circle, do not consider by your own. So here O is the center of the circle. Okay, this angle BOD is equal to 140 degree, and what you have to find these two angles. So let us see how to find. See, this is very easy to find angle BAD. Suppose I say it is X, so this angle is actually subtended by this angle BD. Angle BOD is the angle subtended by BD. So let me remove this for a while. So now I can clearly see this BD subtends angle BOD at the center and angle BAD at the remaining part of the circle. So I can say, according to the theorem, BOD is equal to twice of X. Okay, angle subtended by the chord at the center is twice the angle subtended by it at the remaining part. So 140 is equal to 2x, so x is equal to 70. That means this angle is equal to 70 degree. Okay, now let me join it again. Next, what we have to find this angle DCP. Okay, so now if you observe, these 4 points are on the circle, so they are cyclic. I can say A, B, C, D are the cyclic points, concyclic points. So A, B, C, D forms a cyclic quadrilateral. Now there are two ways to find that angle. First, see, I have the measurement of 70. Now angle, let me remove this, then you will get a better picture. Now A and C are opposite angles, so their sum must be 180. So according to that, I can write 70 plus this angle, let it be y, is equal to 180. So y is equal to 110. Now what we have to find, this angle DCP. Okay, now I can write y plus angle DCP is equal to 180. So DCP is equal to 110. This is the one way. Okay, another way, as I gave you the theorem that exterior angle of a cyclic quadrilateral is equal to its opposite interior angle. So with respect to C, interior opposite angle is this angle. Okay, this will be 70. Okay, y is 110, so this will be 70. So angle DCP is equal to, directly I can write by the theorem that angle subtended, exterior angle of a cyclic quadrilateral is equal to its opposite interior angle. If I use that theorem, again I will get 70. So this is the one question. Let us see one more question, because in MCQ generally you get this type of questions. Okay, if you write this, it will take time, but if you solve as a MCQ part, this will won't take much time. Okay, so let us see one more question. Okay, we have ABEC, ABEC. This is point D, and this CD is joined. Okay, now it is given ABC is an isosceles triangle. It is given this ABC is an isosceles triangle. See, there isn't any point like O. Also, there isn't any uh, information about the center of the circle. It is given ABC is an isosceles triangle. Is an isosceles triangle in which we have AB equal to AC. AB equal to AC. This is the information given. Also, it is given angle ABC is equal to 50 degree. Angle ABC, this complete angle ABC is equal to 50 degree. What you have to find? Angle BDC. This I am saying X, and angle BEC. BEC, that is I am saying Y. So you have to find the measurement of X and Y. Okay, so think for a while, then I will give it solution. See, first of all, it is given this AB is equal to AC. So we know in a triangle, if two sides are equal, opposite angles are equal, and this angle is 50. Okay, as this angle is 50 degree, this angle also will be 50 degree. Angle opposite two equal sides, so this angle again will be 50. AB equal to AC. Now, in this triangle ABC, first I applied that in a triangle, if two sides are equal, opposite angles are equal. On that basis, I got this is 50 and this is 50. Now, if I apply the angle sum property in the triangle, I will get this angle as 100. Angle BAC is equal to 100 degree. By angle sum, not 100. Angle it is 80 degree. By angle sum property of triangle, angle BAC is 80 degree. Now, you can see this BC subtends angle A over here and angle D over here. That means in the same segment. Okay, so 80 should be equal to X, or X should be equal to 80, because we know that angles subtended by any chord at the segment are equal. So X is equal to 80. Now, as I got 80 as angle BAC, it is very easy to get the measure of angle Y, because BACE, quadrilateral BAC is a cyclic quadrilateral, and in a cyclic quadrilateral, sum of opposite angle is 180 degree. So I can write 80 plus Y is equal to 180. So hence Y is equal to 100 degree. In this way, we got these two measures, that is X and Y both. Okay, now we'll see one more question. Again, we have a circle, and some of the angles are given to us, and some of the measurements or angles we have to find. So okay, this time O is given, that means it is given O is the center of the circle. Okay, so here it is given, first thing it is given, PQ is a diameter. Okay, O is center. Okay, if only this information was given, then by default we can say PQ is a diameter. Now further it is given angle PQR. Okay, angle PQR is equal to 65 degree. Angle SPR is equal to 40 degree. Angle PQM is equal to 50 degree. Okay, so you have to find angle QPR. QPR. So let I am saying it is X, then PRS. PRS. Let it be Y, and QPM. QPM, QPM. Let this is be Z. These three angles we have to find, X, Y and Z. Okay, so think for a while that how you will proceed, then I will give you solution. Okay, so let us see how to solve this. See, it is given angle PQR, angle PQR. This is 65 degree. This angle is 65 degree. SPR, angle SPR, SPR. This is 40 degree. Angle PQM, PQM. This is 50 degree. Okay, so see, PQ is a diameter. Okay, PQ is a diameter, and we know that angle subtended by a semicircle is 90 degree. PQ is a diameter, so angle PRQ this will be 90. It is the angle subtended by diameter PQ. Okay, so this will be 90 degree. So in triangle PRQ, in triangle PRQ, by angle sum property of triangle, I can say x plus 90 plus 65 is equal to 180. So x is equal to 25. Okay, so here we got the first, that is angle x. Now okay, we got the measurement of x. Now see this S, P, Q and R. S, P, Q and R, or first see this R, P, okay, this R, P, M and Q. All these points are on the circle. That means they must form a cyclic quadrilateral, and we know in a cyclic quadrilateral sum of opposite angle is 180 degrees. So I can write RPM, angle RPM plus RQM plus angle RQM is equal to 180 degree. Now RPM is equal to x plus z, and RQM is equal to 65 plus 50 is equal to 180. So now x is, we have already 25 plus z plus 65 plus 150 is equal to 180. So I can say z, okay, this is z actually, z is equal to 180 minus 90 minus 50. That means z is equal to 90 minus 50, so z is equal to 40 degree. So here we got the another angle z. So we got the x, we got z. Now next you have to find measure of angle y. So think for a while how you will get y. However, it is very easy. See these 4 points. Okay, if I say this, now these 4 points are again form a cyclic quadrilateral. So think how you can get the measurement of y using this concept. Okay, so again here you can say, see these 4 points form a cyclic quadrilateral, so I can say SPQ, okay, angle SPQ angle SPQ SPQ plus SRQ plus SRQ is equal to 180. Now SPQ is equal to 40 plus X, and SRQ is equal to Y plus 90 is equal to 180. Now X we have already, that is 40 plus 25 plus Y plus 90 is equal to 180. So this will become Y is equal to 180 minus 90 minus 65. So Y is equal to 90 minus 65. So Y is equal to 25. So here I also got the measure of angle Y. So if you have all the theorems uh, in, then it is possible to get the values of these unknowns. Okay, so here I am finishing this chapter circles. Now we'll see revision of mm, constructions. Okay, construction. In short, we'll see there are three types of construction in your syllabus. We'll see all three types of constructions. So, okay, so constructions next we'll see. Okay, so see, basically there are three types of construction in your syllabus. In short, we will see. Suppose we have a triangle ABC, we have construction of triangles ABC. Now the first type of construction that we have in our syllabus, that is uh, base is given. Okay, sum of two sides is given. I am considering AB plus AC is given. Whatever sum of two sides is given, sum of two sides is given. Okay, and another is base angle is given. Okay, this is the first type of construction. Second type of construction in which again base is given. Now instead of sum of two sides, difference of two sides is given and one base angle is given. And the third type of construction is this, in which perimeter is given. Okay, and any two base angles, and two base angles are given. Two base angles are given. So we'll start in a sequence. We'll see one example. Okay, suppose first triangle we have to construct, in which I'm taking it is given BC, base BC is given, let it be 7.5. Then next it is given AB plus AC, that is 12.5. Okay, sum of two sides is given, and one of the base angle, that means as base BC is given, it means either angle B or angle C will be given to you. So here I am considering angle B is given of 60 degree. So how to construct that? Okay, think for a while, then I will give you the solution. Okay, so let us see, it's not very difficult. The first step, we'll draw base BC. Okay, that means we can say we draw a segment with length 7.5 centimeter. Then we'll construct angle B at, but obvious, at point B in this way. Now how to construct 60 degree, that I'm considering you know. Okay, still let me explain you in short. What we'll do, we'll take B as the center, we'll draw a semicircle of any arbitrary radius, not very small, not very large. Then we'll take this point as a center with the same radius, we draw an arc. Then we'll take this as center, again we draw an arc. Now we'll join this. However, to draw 60 degree, to construct 60 degree, this arc was not required, but we have a habit to take two arcs, because this gives you 60 degree. When you join this, you will get 120 degree, and by drawing the bisectors you will get 90 degree. So here it is 60 degree, so we'll draw 60 degree. Now next what you have to do, you have to take B as the center. Okay, here it is given AB plus AC is equal to 12.5, angle B equal to 60 degree. Now next what you have to do, definitely you will draw a ray in such a way. Okay, now by taking B as the center and this sum AB plus AC as 12.5, you have to draw an arc. Wherever it meets, let the point is Q, join QC, or let the point is D, join CD. Now draw the perpendicular bisector of CD. Now again there is a basic construction that how to draw the perpendicular bisector of any line segment. For that, take C as the center and radius more than half of CD and draw an arc in this way and in this way. Then repeat the process by taking D as the center. So definitely wherever these two arcs meet, join them, and that will definitely intersect this BD. Let the point is A, join AC, then this ABC is the required triangle. So I am giving you the steps of construction once again. First draw the base, then draw the base angle. By considering this point as the, or the base angle point as the center, uh, cut off a length of sum of the sides from this ray. Let the point is D, join DC, draw its perpendicular bisector. Definitely that will meet anywhere at the this angle making ray, and join that point with the C point, you will get the required triangle. So that was the first type of construction in which sum of sides were given to you. Now next we will see when the difference of sides is given. Now when the difference of side is given, there is a small catch, that see over here what we did, we took the base, we draw the angle, we took the center, and we cut the arc equal to the sum of the sides. Now when we have to construct the triangle in which difference of side is given, we have to follow almost same method. That means first we will draw the base, then we draw the base angle, then we take base angle point as the center and we draw uh, the, uh, the arc equal to the difference of the sides. Now in some cases you have to take the arc above the base, and sometimes you have to take the arc below the base. Okay, how to decide that? That is the only thing that you have to understand over here. After that, again, process is same. So let me take two questions and I will give you their solutions simultaneously to make you understand that when we have to take arc above and when we have to take arc below. Okay, so let me take a question. Base BC, okay, base BC is given 5.6 centimeter. Okay, then angle B is 60 degree, angle B is equal to 60 degree, and AB minus AC equal to 1.5 centimeter. Okay, so let me take one more example to make you understand the same thing. Okay, triangle PQR, I am taking different triangle. Okay, this was triangle ABC. I am taking triangle PQR. Over here base is given QR equal to 6. Base is given QR is equal to 6 centimeter. Either angle Q or angle R will be given to you. Here it is again angle Q is equal to 60 degree. Okay, Q is equal to 60 degree. Now PR minus PQ is given. PR minus PQ is given 2 centimeter. Okay, so let us construct these two triangles simultaneously. First, what we have to do, we have to draw base as we did in the last. So first we will take BC over here, and over here I can say I have to take base as QR. Okay, it's a matter of luck that these two, okay, here it is 5.6. I thought they are same, but this is 5.6 and this is 6. Okay, I'm just giving you the method. I'm least bothered about their measurements. No, next is angle B equal to 60 degree. So here I will draw angle B equal to 60 degree, and over here angle Q is 60 degree. Okay, here it is a matter of chance that these two angles are equal. Okay, now third thing, definitely I am taking B as the center, and over here I will take Q as the center. And what will be the radius? In this case radius will be 1.5, in this case radius will be 2. Now only thing is that whether I have to draw the arc above the base BC or over here above the base QR or below them. So for that what you have to do, see, in this triangle these 2 points I have already. Now what will be the next point, or what will be the remaining, what is the remaining point of the triangle? That is A. And over here what is the remaining point of triangle? P. So now I will see definitely point A will come on this ray only, either above or below. Similarly this point P is going to come on this ray, either above or below. Now suppose it is wherever it is, doesn't matter. What will be the name of the segment which will get with this base B, and this is the remaining point AB, isn't it? The remaining point is A and base angle point is AB. So the segment I got is AB over here, and segment I will get over here is PQ. How I got this segment? By the base angle and the remaining point. By the base angle point and the remaining point. Now you have to check this AB is smaller or greater. See, here it is written, over here you have to check. Here AB minus AC. Definitely AB is greater. Then and only then difference will be positive, isn't it? Larger minus smaller you will get AB. That means over here I can say AB is positive. That means the remaining segment that I form by the remaining point and the base angle vertex AB is greater. And over here this PQ which I formed by the remaining point and the base angle point Q, that is PQ, is smaller. Here you can say PQ is on the right side of the minus sign, that means this is smaller. So when you get this segment is greater, you have to take the point above, otherwise below. So in this case, by taking B as the center and radius 1.5, I will draw an arc above the base. So this I am considering is the point. Now this point I will name it D, like that. Now I will join DC. Here I will do the same thing, but point will be below, because here PQ is smaller. I give as D, then I join DR. Now I will draw its perpendicular bisector. Definitely it will meet the triangle, okay, at any point, and that point I will say name A, and I will join this to get triangle ABC. Over here again you have to draw the bisector of this, and when you draw the perpendicular bisector of this, it will meet anywhere, and that point I will give as P, and I will join this to get my triangle PQR. Okay, remaining all things are same. Okay, first I took the base, then I draw the base angle, then I took B as the center, and I took radius as the difference. Now I decided, or I got to know, that this segment AB is greater, so arc should be above the base. So by taking B as the center and 1.5 radius, I draw an arc which meets this at point D. Then join DC, draw the perpendicular bisector of DC. Wherever it meets, that will be the third point. Join that third point with this C, and you will get the triangle. Here again, the only thing is that I took I drawn the arc below the base, because here PQ was smaller. Then again I draw its perpendicular bisector. Wherever it meets, I took as point P, and I join P and R to get the triangle PQR. Okay. Now next we will see there is one more construction in which we have given that perimeter of the triangle and two base angles. Okay, perimeter of a triangle and two base angles are given. So let us see. Suppose we have a triangle. Okay, triangle is ABC. Okay, in which it is given AB plus BC plus AC is equal to AB plus BC plus AC is equal to 10 centimeter. Okay, and angle B is equal to 105, angle C 90 degree. Angle B 105, angle C is equal to 90 degree. Okay, so perimeter is given and two of the angles are given. So we'll start by drawing the, we'll take base, or we'll draw a line segment PQ, PQ equal to the perimeter of the triangle, that is 10. Okay, we draw a segment whose length is equal to the perimeter of the triangle. Now at one base, at one end of that segment, I will draw angle B and angle C. That you can draw at any of the point, but that you have to keep in your mind that, for example, if I am taking angle B at 10.105 degree over here, so that I have to take care, because further again I need this. Okay, so here I am taking angle Q over here, sorry, angle P over here and angle Q over here. That means angle B at the point P and angle C at the point Q. So 105 degree. So you should know how to draw the 105 degree using the rounder only. I am drawing approximate 105 degree. Okay, now over here it is 90 degree. Okay, this is the one thing. Now next step, I will draw the bisector of this angle in this way. I also draw the bisector of this angle. Now I hope you know how to draw the bisector of any angle. Okay, if you don't know, let me revise you, make you revise in short. I will take P as the center, I will draw and take a radius, and I will draw an arc like this. Then with this point as center and this point as the center, with the same radius I will draw two arcs which meet each other, and by doing so I will get bisector. So here I draw the bisector of angle, I can say angle P or whatever, angle 105. Here I draw the bisector of this 90 degree. Okay, after this, after drawing this, definitely they two meet. Okay, so what to do after this thing for a while, then I will give you its further solution. Okay, when you draw their bisectors, okay, here I am writing P is equal to 10, perimeter is equal to 10. When you draw their bisector, definitely they meet. Okay, wherever they meet, let the point is Q. Sorry, Q is already given, so let the point is R, doesn't matter. Now draw the bisector of this angle, perpendicular bisector of this PR. Okay, perpendicular bisector of this PR, as well as perpendicular bisector of this RQ. Okay, okay, not to R, let it be point A. See, when I took AB plus BC plus CA is equal to 10 centimeter, and this B and this C. So actually I took angle B equal to P and angle Q equal to angle R. So this point I will give as A. Now when I draw the perpendicular bisector of PA, definitely it will meet the base PQ. Similarly, when I draw the perpendicular bisector of AQ, it will meet the base PQ. Now as this point P I took as angle B, so this I will say is point B, and similarly this I will say as point C. Now when I join this A, B and C, then I will get triangle ABC. Okay, here I am not getting exactly, okay, but this is the way to get the triangle ABC. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. First I will draw the base, then at the end of the base I will draw these angles, then I will draw the bisectors of these two angles. Wherever they meet, I will give it the name A, because B and C are over here, so I name it A. If C and A are over here, then I will name it B. Okay, then when I draw the perpendicular bisector of these two segments, they will meet the base and corresponding points I will give these 2 points to get the triangle. So here I am finishing this construction as well. Now in next lecture we'll start either mensuration, or that is surface area and volume, or statistics. Till then, bye. Thank you. Take care. Stay at